everyone, and welcome here to AZ Sports Box Weekly. I'm Caleb Bouchy, being joined here by Franklin Miller and Wills Rice, just a couple miles away. And the last time we were on air, a lot of chaos happened before the last time we were on air. And now, of course, for obvious reasons, we are now on a remote format due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. But guys, why don't you tell me where you guys are at, since you guys are on different cities of the state. And Frank, we'll start with you first. And this is your debut here on AZ Sports Box Weekly. So
yes, I'm happy to be on. Thank you very much, Caleb. And I am actually near downtown area in Phoenix in my bedroom, my humble abroad. Hopefully this quarantine thing kind of, continues to, just hopefully this gets taken care of, and hopefully we can get back to like doing this type of stuff in person and, see how these things go.
Wills?
Yeah, I'm here in Tempe. I'm looking out the window, sun's setting. It's a nice day. I went on a hike today, 75 degrees. I am quarantining, of course, hike by myself, not too many people there. But yeah, the quarantine isn't, people aren't doing their part when they're going out to eat all the time and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been fine for me. I like to play video games. I'm missing sports, big part of my life missing, but I'm ready to talk about some sports and the crazy times it's been happening over the last few weeks.
Oh, without a doubt. And just to get to a recap of all the cancellation sports, and we'll have the recap graphic here. So the biggest thing this all started with sports being on pause is when Utah Jazz player Rudy Gobert tested positive for the coronavirus, and Donovan Mitchell just a few hours later the next day. And the NBA officially suspended season until further notice. The NHL ended up going on that same status, and along with the MLB. However, I think the biggest controversial decision was the NCAA making the decision to cancel all winter and spring championship events. Of course, includes the men's and women's March Madness basketball tournaments. And I guess we'll start with that, going into that. Some of these events happening till the month of June. What do you guys think of the decision? Was it the right call to make?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you had to make that call. You mentioned one of the biggest. I think they came out today that said the NCAA lost. They estimated $375 million with not having the tournament, and that includes TV ads and all that jazz. But it also is crazy. The Olympics are canceled, which is you never think that the athletes that only get that opportunity once every 4 years. That's another big thing. So it definitely needed to happen. You don't want to be the person that forces your employees to go to work and they get sick. So it is definitely needed to happen. It's just something we've never seen before, and I think over 100 years. So it's really a crazy time, but it definitely needed to happen.
Franklin?
Yeah, I second what Wills has just said there. It is an absolutely right call to make. Due to the pandemic and everywhere around the world, canceling the Final Four and also the Olympics for that matter was very important to do for just the safety of the sports world. But I know that it kind of stinks for the seniors, though. They actually have to go through all this, because I know they're looking forward to playing their last season, trying to win a championship, and kind of got stripped away from them through this whole pandemic. So my hearts go out to all of them, but no doubt about it that the board made the right decision, for sure.
Absolutely. And there is a little bit of an update on that. The spring athletes, of course, include sports like baseball, softball, and beach volleyball. A few of those, just to name off, they're going to get an extra year of eligibility. However, I don't think the NCAA has released a statement on whether winter sport athletes will get the same thing. And I'm assuming that's most likely not going to be the case.
I think they came out and said winter sports do not get the extra year.
It was expected.
It's expected, but also the thing that's kind of it just sucks. I mean, the NCAA had no option; they had to give them an extra year. But like for a lot of people, they have jobs lined up already, like out of college. We're 2 months away from people graduating. Like people have jobs lined up out of college. So if you're an athlete, like unless you're going pro in some sort of whatever in football, softball, whatever, you're not going to be making a lot of money. So you can't really afford to go to college for an extra year just to play another year of softball. And I mean, it sucks because a lot of these people were stripped of that senior year of sports, and they're not really going to get it back because a lot of people play college sports for fun and for that competition. I think it's like what 0.1% of them end up going pro of college athletes. So I mean, it really does suck. It's really unfortunate, but like I think all three of us say, it needed to be done.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a tough decision, but the right call. Moving in to our next topic, going into more Arizona sports related. Obviously, no sporting events going on, but a lot of sports news going on, and the NFL draft is going to continue as planned. But going into Arizona Cardinals, we'll start with free agency talk, and we got to talk about this big trade that happened over the past few weeks with DeAndre Hopkins acquiring him from the Houston Texans. This is a trade, I think, or acquisition that took everyone by surprise. And I know, Wills, I think you were probably the most fired up.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think of the Cardinals deal about this?
I mean, so you know me, I've been a Phoenix sports fan for as long as I can remember. My earliest memories have been a Phoenix sports fan. And it feels like anytime a deal like this happens, we're always on the other end of it where we just gave up the franchise's best player. For example, I've been expecting the Suns to do this with Devin Booker. We're going to trade Devin Booker for a bag of peanuts in a second-round pick. I'm expecting that to happen soon. But, it feels really good, and it's fun because, we have Kyler Murray, who could be a potential MVP of the league at some point. To add one of the top 3 to 5 wide receivers in the NFL to give him that target, I mean, it's going to be a fun season. I mean, we watched Josh Rosen and Sam Bradford win 3 games, and they were not a 3-win team. That was probably a 1 to maybe 2-win team. So, just having fun football in the Valley is going to be fun. And then having a team, nationally, people might respect a little more. I mean, he's one of those players, DeAndre Hopkins is, where he has a following no matter where he goes. And Arizona isn't really the Cardinals aren't a well-respected nationwide team. So, adding a player like that, you gain a little more respect. And once you start winning games, the nation might start to turn their head.
Is there a chance that we could see the Cardinals become playoff material with this acquisition, especially in the playoffs last year?
Absolutely. We saw the last 3 to 4 games of the season, when they got rid of Terrell Suggs, we saw the kind of addition by subtraction where the defense actually played much, much better when games against the Browns, the Seahawks, the Rams, and there's one other one in there I'm not remembering. But the defense played well, and the offense, another year under the air raid. Cliff Kingsbury actually said before he even coached his first game that his quarterbacks always perform the best in their second year because they have a full grip of the offense. They really get where the checkdowns are, what the correct reads are. And I'm really excited. Kyler has all the materials to be great, and now he has the running back in Kenyon Drake and the wide receivers with Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, and Larry Fitzgerald. So adding another offensive lineman in the draft, you mentioned the draft coming up. The Cardinals are one really good draft pick away from hitting a grand slam this offseason, from really going from one of the worst teams in the NFL to being a consistent playoff team.
Okay. Franklin, what do you make of this? What's your reaction?
Oh, I second guess everything Will just said, man. I think, like he said, with Cliff Kingsbury saying that usually quarterbacks in his system really perform more well in year 2. And now at the NFL being more of like, I wouldn't say a college-based league with the offenses, but it's kind of more going into that direction, especially with the growth of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. And now that Cliff Kingsbury being elected into the NFL, he's also bringing in the air raid, which is similar to what Kansas City does. And then he's going to supplement in more West Coast offensive principles. And with Kyler Murray getting a little bit more of like a feel for the NFL game, we all saw his talent in his rookie year. That's why he won Rookie of the Year. As the season went on, he just got better and better and better. And they actually gave the first place San Francisco 49ers team fits in both games. Honestly, you can argue that they should have won both of those games. Absolutely. Now they just add DeAndre, and then they just added DeAndre Hopkins. Like they are well on their way right now. And I kind of saw glimpses of it for sure last year, but now adding a piece like DeAndre Hopkins, now they just got to shore up a little more of their offensive linemen as they re-signed DJ Humphries as their left tackle. So they just need to shore up a little bit more on the right side and a little bit more on the D line. But getting Devondre Campbell for a friendly contract it just adds on to like just where they're headed, and they know the direction they're going. They gotta thank Bill O'Brien for that one because I have no idea what he was thinking. But my God, I just.
The thing for me that I think is the most interesting out of all this is if you date back one offseason, so right after the Patriots beat the Rams in the Super Bowl, everyone was looking for that next Sean McVay type coach. And that's why the Cardinals hired Cliff Kingsbury, because they wanted that next wave of the NFL, that air raid offense. And I think what's really interesting about it is look at that NFC West now. The Rams very, very might as well be the worst team in that division. I mean, the 49ers just made it to the Super Bowl. Seahawks won, I think, 11 or 12 games last year. And the Cardinals are ready to take that next big jump. The Rams have major question marks. They just cut Todd Gurley, who was their best player 2 years ago. Jared Goff's getting majorly overpaid for a middle-tier quarterback, if you want to even call him that. They just traded away Jalen Ramsey, who was probably their second-best defensive player behind Aaron Donald. Or sorry, they still have Jalen Ramsey. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I was about to
re-signed
say.
him. My apologies. Re-signed him. They still have Aaron Donald. I mean, there is a lot of question marks. They traded away Dexter Fowler, I believe. I believe he's not on the team.
Dante Fowler?
I'm so sorry. Dexter Fowler is the baseball player. He's a baseball player.
He's got baseball.
From that Super Bowl roster 2 years ago, they do not have a similar roster. Their wide receivers, I mean, that was their strength with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Josh Reynolds, but they don't seem to know what they're doing offensively. They don't have an identity. I think it's very interesting that Sean McVay was the hit coach, the hot coach, and now they might get last place in this NFC West.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, just real quick, Caleb, I would just say that like the offensive line play didn't help this year because it kind of went down as soon as their center kind of had to leave, and they lost Andrew Whitworth, or they're about to lose Andrew Whitworth this offseason, and so their offensive line taking it, and their cap situation was just awful, especially after they tried to sign a bunch of players this past couple of seasons. So now, and they don't have a first round pick due to all these trades they made to like 2022, I believe. So like they have major question marks, and they have implemented a big time of their future into Jared Goff, which if you don't give them an offensive line situation or anything around it, it's going to be really tough for them, man. It's just, and now that Todd Gurley's gone, like they're almost wouldn't say they're rebuilding, they're reloading for sure, but like it's looking very tough for them right now. And they're kind of stuck with what they have for at least another 3 years, I believe. So like they're in a tough spot. They got to try to win games. But I'm with him. I think the Cardinals are taking the jump, and the Rams are kind of the team that's looking outside, especially now that the NFC South is gotten stronger. So.
And yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Rams. Losing Todd Gurley, I think that was a huge loss for them, especially since he's one of the best running backs in the league, in my opinion. So things are definitely shaping up to be very different this upcoming season for the Cardinals division. And hopefully Arizona can take advantage of it and hopefully land a playoff spot, because there's now more room for it, which we'll talk about in our Unrapid Fire segment about the playoffs expanding. But now going into basketball, ASU basketball and Phoenix Suns, we'll start with the Sun Devils. Remy Martin and Romello White officially declared for the NBA draft in just their junior year, with plans to forego their senior season. However, there is a chance that, like Luke and Stort the previous season, that they might not get drafted and they still could end up playing their senior season at ASU for one more year. Do you guys think these two players are jumping the gun, or is this a good decision for them?
I'll say Romello White is 100% jumping the gun. I mean, I actually really, really like Romello White as a college basketball player. He came into ASU the same year I did as a freshman, and I think he's a fantastic Pac-12 basketball player. But for how tall he is to play center, he does not have the skill sets to, guard an NBA center, to play offense on an NBA center right now. He's not tall enough. He's not big enough. Remy Martin's interesting because when someone can score in the NBA, it's at a premium. I don't care if they can't play defense. Ask Isaiah Thomas, ask Lou Williams. If you can score points, there's a spot for you in the NBA. And the thing about Remy is he can score. That's what Dort couldn't do. Dort couldn't really finish around the rim. He was a great defender, could get to the rim, but couldn't finish. Remy averaged, I think, close to 20 points in the conference. So it's tough to say. My guess is they both end up coming back for their senior season. I think Remy's more of a question mark. I think Romello is just kind of testing the waters, see what he can get. I mean, if you can get drafted. Fantastic. Go make your money, man. But my guess is they both come back.
Well, I think that's also another thing too is that these student athletes are not getting paid during the years they play college basketball. So I think that reason played a role. I mean,
they're not getting paid on the
to
book.
a degree. Yeah, to a degree it did. Yeah.
But I mean, Franklin, what do you think about this with the two players' decisions? Are they jumping the gun, or is this the best?
Honestly, to be Remy Martin, in a sense, I wouldn't say is jumping the gun a whole lot, but he's I would say that I understand why he would elect to forego his senior season or elect to forego into the draft. It makes sense, but the other player, what was his name again?
Romello White.
Romello White, yeah. I actually do agree with Wills on that one too. I don't think, from a sense that he's ready. I feel like if he were to jump into the draft, he'd go in as an undrafted free agent. I believe it would kind of like he'd be deemed as a project, so to speak, and it would kind of I wouldn't say it'd be a waste. I'd say give it another year, and maybe I think he'd jump into that second round tier, and maybe make a point of emphasis to maybe make G League, kind of stay in the G League for a couple seasons after that, and then make his leeway into the league as maybe a rotational piece. But I feel like if he goes now, those plans might be deterred. But as long as he believes in himself, I believe that like he can do it though for sure. But just my honest opinion, I think he should wait another year.
Well, awesome. Well, let's move on to our next segment. So we want to keep this short and sweet. But we're going to do unrapid fire, and it's going to be outside the box, so it doesn't have to be Arizona sports related. But we have 4 questions here, and I'll start the first one kind of relating to what we were talking about earlier with the March Madness tournament. The tournament was scheduled to take place at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, which hosted Super Bowl 53, I think 2 years ago, or not too long ago. Should the NCAA consider moving all their neutral site sporting events like the Final Four? Should they give Atlanta a chance to host it next year or push all their sites back? What are your guys' opinion on that?
I'll go first. I actually think that's a great idea. I think with the market that Atlanta has, especially with the SEC, I think that's very great. And then with the new arena, with the Mercedes-Benz arena that Atlanta has, and a bunch of new facilities that they got going on over there, I think Final Four revenue in Atlanta would be just through the roof. I think it would definitely excite a lot of fans and create a lot of buzz and hoopla. But I think just from like a market standpoint and money standpoint as well, this is a totally great idea that the NCAA could really capitalize on.
And I mean, yeah, I definitely like the idea as well. But I know the NCAA plans hosting these events several years ahead of time. They already have Arizona down to host the Final Four again in 2023. So there would be a little bit of a conflict that would happen because people plan these so far ahead. Will's, what's your thoughts?
No, I mean, I agree with what Franklin said. I think the most realistic option would just be to push, if you were supposed to have it in 2023, you get it in 2024. I mean, it makes the most sense, the easiest. And, a lot of these cities make a lot of money when these things come to town, these local businesses, the hotels, all that. Like, it makes a lot of money. So I think these cities, because they pay a lot for these Final Fours. They have to put up offerings to the NCAA. They bid on them, especially same thing with the Super Bowl. So I think it would be tough to rob someone to take away their NCAA tournament final.
Oh, I mean, I can agree more. So moving in to the next question on our unrapid fire. So the NFL recently made the official decision according to the owners that they're going to be expanding the playoff system to add 2 teams, and now only 1 team from each conference will get a first round bye from now on. This is going to be in effect for the next upcoming football season. What do you guys think of this? I mean, the NFL and the MLB currently have the smallest playoff team system when it comes to all the Big Four sports leagues. Do you guys think this was a good decision by the NFL? on expanding its playoff format and limiting more of the regular season?
Oh, absolutely. I'll go first on this one. I mean, I'm a Cardinals fan. We already established this. The Cardinals are never going to be a top 2 seed. It's playing. You might have a good year, but adding a 7th team in the playoff, not only does it make it so you have a better chance of making the playoff, but it makes it where, let's say our team is 6-6 at the end of the season, which isn't good, but you're coming down towards the end stretch. You still have a shot at that last playoff spot. If you're not, going 500 might make the playoffs. So, I mean, also, I think the big thing is looking back on it, this Patriots dynasty has been fantastic. And we all know coaches like Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, how they're great after coming out of the bye. I think it's two of the Super Bowls that Tom Brady won, they were the 2 seed, meaning that if they were in this new playoff format, if they were the 2 seed, they wouldn't have had that first round bye, which means one less week to prepare for their team, and then also another week of wear and tear on your body. So it's a great question to see, the first round bye, actually getting the number 1 overall seed means a lot. You're not going to see teams benching players. You're not going to see teams doing shit like that. Sorry.
We'll bleep it out. But no, I agree at that point, especially as the Patriots screwed up near the end of the regular season. They had the chance to get that first round bye, and they didn't.
Dolphins.
And that made all the difference because they got
exactly, Caleb.
First round right at the gate.
They didn't have the week to prepare, then they lost to the Titans. I'm telling you, it's a real thing. Coaches like Andy Reid and Bill Belichick, their win percentage coming out of a bye is so high because they prepare their teams so well. And it's going to make a big difference. It's really going to change how the NFL playoffs work. I don't think we're going to see teams making the Super Bowl like the Patriots did. What was it, like 5 out of 8 years or something?
Oh, without a doubt. Franklin, what do you think? Well, it looks like we lost him a little bit. But moving on, I think it's a great decision by the NFL on expanding its format, especially giving teams like the Cardinals a more better of a chance to compete in the playoff experience. So, and not only that, I think it's also more of a business move. They'll obviously sell out more when they have
more money.
playoff games. It's more money. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the money. It's all about the money.
It's always all about the money with these owners, man.
That's the business of sports.
But the players getting more money too.
I know players get more money too, more salary, especially with which might be 17-game season coming soon. So will be coming soon next year. So that also adds on to it too. But yeah, also to just get my quick thought on it. Sorry, I was kind of I was off a little bit, but yeah, I also agree with Will's. I like the 7-game series, 7-game span a lot, especially just from the fact that it makes the regular season that much more important, especially towards the end stretch where teams can't necessarily bench their starters anymore. So I really believe that this whole new format is really, really great for the NFL and for competition purposes. I also am a big fan of the fact that the NFL playoffs is such a big marketed playoff race kind of sporting event, especially in January. It's very, very popular. So the fact that we get a couple more teams heading into the playoffs, that's very, very good for just fan experiences, things like that. So I'm all for 7-game series, seven teams in both conferences now. It's very great.
And I want to add on another thing, and we'll make this an extra unrapid fire question. So with the playoffs expanding, that obviously means more televised games. CBS is going to get one going to televise the extra wild card game, and the second game will go to NBC. The interesting part of this that I want to point out is the NFL is going to be using some new testing grounds on the way they broadcast the game with their broadcast partners. So NBC Sports for that extra wild card game, they're going to have a separate broadcast on Telemundo to do a Spanish broadcast, which I think is a good way to expand their reach for football fans outside the U.S. Another thing I want to point out, and this is really interesting, CBS, they're going to do an alternate broadcast feed as well for their extra wild card game, but it's not going to be a Spanish broadcast. It's going to be on Nickelodeon. Out of all and they're going to do a separate produced broadcast to target a younger audience. This is, I think, the second time an NFL game is going to be seen on a children's network. They typically had the Pro Bowl simulcast on, was it Disney XD, which is like
Disney XD. Yeah.
It's a ripoff of Disney Channel. But this is interesting. Nickelodeon is going to be the first ever network to actually broadcast its own major sporting event. This is never seen anything done like this before. They're obviously not releasing much details about this now because they just announced it, and I think once the season starts, we'll probably get more details on this. But what do you guys think of this on the NFL's new testing grounds for its broadcast partners?
I mean, it's pretty plain and simple. The NFL are sharks. They want to make money wherever they can. One of their untapped, they're trying to do what MLB needs to do. The MLB needs younger fans.
Yeah.
Younger people don't grow up watching baseball now. So the NFL is trying to take that younger audience. And, let's say a team watches the Ravens-Titans game and they see Derrick Henry go off for 200 yards. A little kid watching that game might say, I'm a Titans fan now because I just saw Derrick Henry have this amazing game. So I think it's actually a really smart idea. It can't hurt. I mean, to air it on Nickelodeon can't be that expensive compared to what ESPN, Fox, CBS is. So it's a really smart idea, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, my bad. It's just it's safe to say, man, that the NFL they go for what they want, man. Like if they have their mind set on something, they're not gonna give up until they get it, man. And I believe that reaching a younger audience is actually really great for the NFL, to be honest with you. Even though the NFL is already popular enough as it is, I definitely agree with a sport like baseball or even hockey, for instance, even though that's more international. Them broadcasting games more for kids, for like the younger audience would be more important so for the NFL. But good for the NFL jumping on that to get a more of like a landscape for not just ages, but also with the whole Spanish networking, they're trying to make it more international. So they're thinking 3 steps ahead and making money while doing it. So like they're being geniuses right now. I'm not gonna lie to you, they're being geniuses.
Oh, I think it's a great move, especially with their whole NFL Play 60, which I think is like their whole main division that's marketed towards kids. It's just a great way to expand their platform, that showing football is not just a game to watch for adults. It's a family sporting event to watch, which is going to be exciting. The biggest thing I want to know is if they're going to have the play-by-play announcers of the broadcast team be kids who are in high school. You and me go way back. We broadcasted sporting events in high school, and that's what our mentor, Perry Damone, was envisioning. And so I'm really curious to see if they're going to do that.
That's why you're gushing right now, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, me and Wills have had a lot of experience doing this in high school. So,
hey, do you think instead of Gatorade bath the winning coach, they'll slime the winning coach?
Slime.
Oh.
I like that. I hope Nickelodeon is watching right now. That would be interesting. It's kind of like what Herm Edwards at the Frosted Flakes. That was very. Yeah, but I would love to see someone get a slime bath. That would just be so really.
Like the MVP or something like that. Like the MVP of the game gets a slime at the.
It would be great. Moving in. Next unrapid fire question. It is the biggest news out of all free agency news in any sports league. Tom Brady, who is probably the best quarterback of our time, is decided to make the move to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as part of the agreement, he got all the teammates' phone numbers, which apparently was a rumored part of the deal. But what do you guys think of Brady leaving the Patriots after the dynasty he helped create?
Well, you want me to start, Wills?
Yeah, go for it, man.
All right. Well, my thing is this with the whole Tom Brady situation. There are a lot of speculation. You could say that the whole thing with Jimmy Garoppolo starting. There's basically reports that came out saying that Tom Brady was kind of fed up because apparently before they traded Jimmy Garoppolo away to the 49ers, they're actually looking to trade Tom Brady away to the 49ers before they even got to Jimmy Garoppolo. And if these reports are true, it understands why there'd be a rift. There would have been a rift for Tom Brady leaving New England, because you really remember from that season, Tom Brady was in the MVP discussion halfway through that season with Carson Wentz, which Carson Wentz should have won, but he got hurt, so Tom Brady ended up winning it. and they just came off of a 20-3 deficit and came back and won that Super Bowl. But Belichick didn't think he had a lot of years left in him, so he tried to go for 13 more with Jimmy Garoppolo. And Tom Brady took offense to that and apparently went to Robert Kraft, as people say. But overall, with the Bucks standpoint, actually, I think from a football standpoint, it's actually a good fit because of the weapons at his disposal that he has, and the fact that although I will say Bruce Arians is more of like a throw the ball down the field type of guy, and we can argue that Tom Brady's arm strength might not be quote unquote the best, especially now since he's at 43.
But now, I mean, going at it from the Patriots side, are they? Is the dynasty over? Are they no longer Super Bowl contenders just off of one player leaving? And
I can answer that. I think no. I mean, I think Tom Brady kind of showed his true colors this year. He had a worse season statistically than Kyler Murray did. I mean, obviously Kyler Murray was Rookie of the Year, had a good year, but I mean, it's tough to say. Tom Brady had zero weapons in New England, but he also had one of the greatest masterminds in the history, not of just of football, but of sports, in Bill Belichick. So, I mean, Brady easily could have just stayed in New England and, retired as the GOAT, but I really respect him for trying to win that next Super Bowl with another team. I mean, they're going to have a top 7 to 10 defense this year. They're going to have Mike Evans and, why am I forgetting his name? Chris Godwin. They've been reports that they've been working out with Antonio Brown. So, I mean, why not? This team could easily be a Super Bowl contender.
That's a good point. For the Buccaneers, are they a Super Bowl contender now?
That's what I'm saying. They have the top 7 to 10 defense. They have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So I think they easily could be a Super Bowl contender. I mean, if Tom Brady plays at that Patriots Super Bowl every year type play, I mean, why not? But the thing is, it's like, if he plays like he did last year, there's no shot to even survive in that conference with the Saints.
No.
Yeah, to piggyback off what he said, I'd say even though I do like the Bucks as one of the favorites to make the Super Bowl, I would say just on paper per se, but I think the Saints by far are still the best team in that division for sure, especially with that continuity they got. And an underrated free agent signing that they did was sign Emmanuel Sanders from the 49ers. That's a very good signing for New Orleans, man. That stirs up that wide receiving group because they haven't really had a number 2 guy that goes over 500 yards last year besides Michael Thomas. That's absurd. And Michael Thomas had an historical season. So getting Emmanuel Sanders out there to fill that number 2 spot, or just that slot spot in general, because who knows what the Saints might do with wide receiver position in draft, it really helps a lot. But I think overall, I think the Saints are probably the favorites over the Bucks, in my opinion. There's also other teams in the NFC that could give them a run for their money too, but they have a good chance for sure with Tom Brady there now.
Are we a little surprised because a lot of the speculation where Tom Brady was going to go was going to be possibly the LA Chargers. Well, looks like the Chargers now may get Cam Newton. Are we surprised that Brady decided not to go back to his hometown? Or
not at all.
Not at all. Why?
I think obviously San Diego, LA Chargers have great weapons, but I mean, I think going to Tampa was just proof of he was fed up of not having any weapons in New England. I mean, who was his best wide receiver last year? I mean, he had Josh Gordon, he had N'Keal Harry. I mean, N'Keal Harry, we all love
Edelman.
Yeah, he had Edelman. That's true. Sorry, he had Edelman. But I mean, when you go to Tampa Bay, Mike Evans is already better than any receiver, any player, probably any player on the Patriots besides Stephon Gilmore. I mean, and then if you go down the line to their defense, they have Shaq Goodwin, I believe led the league in sacks this year. Chris Godwin had a breakout year at wide receiver. There was a lot more weapons on this team, I think. And I think he was just tired of that, and that's why we shouldn't have really been surprised. I think it was either LA or Tampa Bay the entire time, just based on the weapons.
Yeah. Also, I think that was Shaq Barry you're talking about. But I think Chandler Jones.
I've been messing up on names all night tonight.
Yeah, but I also think Chandler Jones led the league in sacks. I think he had like 18 or something like that, 17 and a half.
How many did Barrett finish with?
I think 15 or 16. I think Chandler Jones had like more.
Yeah, you're right. I think Chandler Jones finished with 17.
Like 17 and a half, something like that.
Oh, no. Barrett had 19 and a half sacks, actually.
Oh, never mind. He did forget the most then.
Oh. Yeah.
Never mind.
the plot
Wow.
thickens.
For sure.
But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think, and I mean, we talk about the LA Chargers, and I'll kind of add this one more topic or one more rapid fire question. Do the Chargers get Cam Newton, and do they gain anything from having Cam Newton on the team?
Yes. I mean, we talked about the Rams kind of falling off. This is the perfect chance for the Chargers. They're moving into this new stadium with the Rams. I mean, the Rams still have that Super Bowl that they just went to say, hey, we were just right there. We're this close still. The Chargers are kind of the ugly stepsister in this situation where they don't really have anything to market. They have Melvin Gordon, who's a running back. We've seen how running backs get treated in the NFL. Keenan Allen, I don't even think he's played in a playoff game in his career. I could be wrong on that. But, I mean, if getting someone like Cam Newton to bring to a new LA franchise, the bright lights, everyone knows how Cam Newton is around the bright lights. You're going to get a comment out of him, whether it's good or bad. I think it would be a perfect move. I think Jameis Winston doesn't really fit there as well. He's kind of just a new Phillip Rivers. So I think getting a breath of fresh air with Cam Newton, and then also the marketability of Cam Newton moving into LA to sell tickets and all that, I think it would be a fantastic move by the Chargers.
Oh, I mean, I like the sound of that.
I think from a market standpoint, it does make sense for them to sign Cam Newton, but from a salary cap standpoint, I do not think it makes logical sense because they also do have cap casualties with they just re-upped Austin Eckler, but they also have cap casualties or not cap casualties per se, but they also have to think about Derwin James coming up in a few seasons. They also have Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram that are about to be free agents both next year. One of them is going to walk for sure, but they have to. But my guess is that you're going to have to try to keep Joey Bosa there for sure. They have to still shore up on linebacker. So I mean, and also they just tagged Hunter Henry this year, and they don't know if he might come back for long term after the season. So from a market standpoint and for a playoff run, I think it makes all the sense in the world. From a long term perspective, I think you might have to look in the draft for the Chargers, especially with where you're at right now. I think personally for me, if I'm the Chargers, I'm looking into maybe trading up to try to get a guy like Tua, or you could stay there, maybe hope he falls there. But I do like the idea though with Cam in terms of a marketability standpoint to help sell tickets and get that fan base going. But I think I would understand both sides if he goes there or not. So
I mean, the Chargers do still have $47.9 million to spend this offseason. I mean, getting Cam on a 1 to 2 year deal. Cam won MVP, 3 or 4 years ago? If he's even half as good as he was then, I mean, we saw he was terrible this last year. I mean, injuries plagued him, but he's got time off. And if he can turn to even close to as good as that, it's a huge upgrade for the Chargers. And I really don't think you're going to be spending $20 million a year on Cam. I think you could get him for 15. And nowadays, if you can get a quality starting NFL quarterback for $15 million, that's
nothing. That's nothing.
Yeah. No.
What Tom Brady signed for? 25?
25.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and Drew Brees is around the same. So if he gets 15, 20, that's
exactly.
No, who is
That's true.
You were talking about salary cap. Who is the player that got probably one of the biggest 1 year deals they've ever seen? Was it Phillip Rivers, or I can't remember.
Phillip Rivers got 1 year 25, right, or 24, something like that.
Something like that with the Colts, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like I said earlier, it's all about the money. But
and scheme fit.
Yeah. But to close, I'll just ask this simple question with this pandemic going on. We're gonna be here. Looks like in a remote format for the next couple of weeks. How soon do you guys think do sports resume with this event going on? It's kind of unknown to tell, but what are your guys' bold prediction?
I don't want to sound like – sorry, go for it, Franklin. Go for it.
Oh, my bad. I'd say if I had to just say a guess, this is all I'll say. I'd probably say just June, maybe June. I know that's what the NBA is hoping for, but that's a maybe because I know we're quarantined for another 30 days, so definitely not this month, and I guarantee you not March or not May. Sorry, not May. So if I had to guess, June at latest July, but that's a maybe. So
I'm not trying to sound like a pessimist here, but I think it's going to be a lot worse than that. They were saying that the peak date of like when the coronavirus will reach its like max amount of people is going to be around late May to early June. That's the peak of it. If I had to guess, I would probably guess mid-July to early August, anywhere in that date, because they're not going to send players out on the court, especially these millionaire divas. They're not going to send them out on the court, on the field, unless they can be like 1,000,000% sure that these guys are safe. Because, if it was you or me out there, they'd be like, and they're making millions off us. They're like, oh yeah, go out there. We don't give a crap about you guys. But these athletes, they're going to be 100% sure. And, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot longer because, we really don't have an answer for this now. We don't know how it spreads. I mean, we know how it spreads. We don't know anything that helps with it. I mean, I think we still have a lot longer without sports to look at.
I mean,
at least we got the draft.
Yeah. The NFL's been great. Free agency's been fantastic. You got to take little wins in these small things like free agency and the draft.
Yeah.
I know.
That's all I've been looking forward to.
When it comes to when sports resume, I think baseball will be the first one to happen because if you think about it, baseball is technically a non-contact sport, at least most of the time. So I think that could be a huge factor in that sport returning the soonest of all the big four. So, but I mean, like I said, time will tell. And I kind of agree at Will's point. I think the peak when this could start could be May, but it could really go any other way, whether that's good or bad. But who knows? Hopefully this ends sooner than expected because I hate being quarantined. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is something we've never experienced before. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's forever going to go down. It's probably the biggest moment that happened in sports history. It's everything on pause, especially the Olympics. And a fun fact too is that the Olympics, they're not canceled, they're postponed until next summer, 2021.
Yeah.
They're still going to brand it as Tokyo 2020. It's not going to be changed to Tokyo 2021. So that will be an interesting thing. But the fact is the Olympics are still going to happen. It just pushed back a year. So it'll still end up being a great Olympics. And I think also logistics with the NBA and NHL season still going on, it probably wants to avoid that kind of competition. Well, guys, that is going to do it. Hope you guys are staying safe and hope all of you guys at home are staying safe. Wash your hands and keep that social distancing, and this will end sooner than expected. But thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be here next week and hopefully every week here on our remote format. And just follow us on our Twitter for all the latest updates. That's going to do it. For Wills Rice, Franklin Miller, I'm Caleb Bouchy saying goodbye for now. And stay safe, everyone. We'll see you later.
Peace.